the cloud. Now you may lead us with prayer, or I can, whichever you want.
Let's go ahead, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Know that we are in the presence of Spirit, and there is only Spirit. Spirit is everything, everywhere, and Spirit is always working in us, through us, and as us. And as we go forth, know that we are all one with Spirit, unique individual creations. And tonight, in our class tonight, will be evolution into just what Spirit is and how Spirit works through us. Knowing this, knowing that myself and Reverend Sewell and we are one with Spirit and that Spirit is always working in us and through us, I give thanks to this, knowing this, and I release this into the law that always says yes, which we will again examine more closely tonight, that always says yes, and so it is.
And so it is. Awesome. So we have with us tonight Brad, who is going to be leading our session this evening. Brad Carlson is a practitioner from Tulsa Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome, Brad. We're glad you're here.
Well, thank you for having me here tonight, and it's a pleasure and honor to be here. And I'm excited to get to lead something online tonight. So this will be a bit of a first-time experience for me and a fun challenge. So everyone watching, either now or the recording later, just keep that in mind. First time for everything. So. What I wanted to dive in tonight has been the CSL theme for this month, which is divine doubt. And I wanted to start off asking just a general question to you, Reverend Swellen, and anyone listening. What happens in life, or in your life specifically, when you have studied spiritual principle, you're familiar with spiritual principle, you have attended a number of services either in Tulsa or Oklahoma City. You have attended a number of conferences, which I believe you just did, Reverend Swellen, and I think it was at Reno, I believe. What happens when you've read the books, which both you and I have read a number of books on by a variety of authors, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, just to name a couple. What happens when you listen to the podcast or watch some of the YouTube videos? So what happens when you understand a lot of this and you know a lot of this? You know this by heart. Even some of us have memorized, the 12 what we believe in statements from Science of Mind. So what happens when you know this, you understand this, but you still feel lost and you still feel confused and you still feel, for lack of a better term, because I've heard this term a lot in spirituality, you still feel out of alignment. What happens in that situation? And the reason I start off this session today asking that question is because that has been me for almost the past 2+ years. I've been studying principle. I've been going to the services. I've been taking classes. As you know, Reverend Phil, and I took most of them with you. So I've studied a lot of this and I understand a lot of it. And I've done a lot of my own inner work, meditation, and journaling. Yet I still feel lost and confused and, again, for lack of a better term, misaligned. And what happens when this is the scenario? And again, I ask this because in times of this, the universe does what it always does. And that is, it brings you exactly what you need in your life at that time, at that moment. And this is what the universe did to me. It brought to me a book, and the title of this book was Navigating Without a Map or a Compass. And the reason that becomes relevant is because, like, for example, you and I, Reverend Swell, we grew up in a time without internet. And we had to learn how to use a map. We had to learn how to open the yellow pages to find the video rental store and how to get from point A to point B. We didn't have GPS, global positioning satellite. We didn't have Google Maps or Apple Maps. So we literally had to learn to navigate without a map. But what happens when you don't have that map? What happens when you don't have that internet, as in today's world? How do you still navigate yourself? Well, in the book, Navigating Without a Map or Compass, It talks about there are signs in nature that you can use to navigate yourself with. Some example, an easy one, of course, is the direction of the prevailing winds in the northern hemisphere. That's one way you navigate yourself. Of course, we've heard about navigating by stars. I'm not trained in that, but I know it's possible. What direction are the tree branches growing? Are they growing horizontal or vertical? That's another way that you can sort of navigate yourself in nature without a map or without a compass. There's all kinds of examples this book gives. If you're in the desert, it talks about the shape of the Sahara dunes. If you're in the polar regions, it actually talks about the shape of icebergs and clues that you can get from those about how to navigate yourself. Another fun one is where are the birds going? Of course, we all know in this part of the world they fly south for the winter, for example. So following the direction of the birds is another sign from nature about how we navigate ourselves. So all this feeds into the question, what are the signs in our life? Okay, when we have lost touch with God, so to speak, when we feel that loss, when we feel that confusion or that lack of certainty, or that, getting to this month's theme, that doubt, what are those signs that we find when we are, how do we, excuse me, how do we know when we are in the flow with God and when we are not? So what are some of those signs? So when we are in the flow of God, we're going to feel it. Okay. Some of those signs are very obvious. We feel a sense of peace. We feel a sense of joy. We feel a sense of contentment. When we are not in the flow, when we are, as I was, feeling lost, feeling confused, feeling frustrated, feeling misaligned, those are the feelings that you're going to have. And that's when we know that somehow, some way, we are blocking the flow of God. And that now we are trying to navigate life without a compass. In this case, our God positioning satellite. We are trying to navigate without that map. So what I want you to do right now, just very quickly, is on your sheet of paper with a pen, write on a scale of 1 to 10 where you might be in terms of being in harmony with the flow of life. 1 being like you feel completely lost, misaligned, not in harmony, not in the flow of life at all. And 10 being that you feel in complete harmony, complete flow, no blockages. God is just flowing through you and doing all the work. And I'm going to write that down real quick too. And then another question to ask yourself, which you can go back and answer at another time when you're journaling or something like that. If you did not write a 10, then ask yourself, what is going on in my life that I'm not a 10? And the answer to that question gets back to the theme for this month. The answer often is why you are not at a 10 is divine doubt. But what is divine doubt? Divine doubt, let me say what divine doubt is not. Divine doubt is not a lack of knowing. Because as I said at the beginning, we know this stuff. We've read the books, we've attended the classes, we've gone to the conferences and the seminars and attended the services. So divine doubt is not a lack of knowledge. And along those lines, I would say it is not a lack of understanding. Because again, for example, I've been studying this for, I think, 7 years now. Reverend Stoll, and I know probably 20, 30 years, who knows how many years. Okay, a long time. So it's not a lack of understanding. It's not a lack of knowledge. So what is divine doubt then? Okay, the opposite of doubt is what? Is trust. The opposite of doubt, from my perspective, the opposite of doubt is faith. So let's talk for a moment. Instead of talking about divine doubt, let's talk about divine trust and divine faith. And I want to start off with another quick hands-on activity. So what I want you to do right now is just at your desk right now, I want you to look around and I want you to find an object. And just for the point of this activity, it should be a small object that can fit in the palm of your hand and that one you can manipulate in your hand without it spilling. So like you wouldn't want to get a glass of water or anything like that. But hold on, hold on. I don't want you to grab just any object. Okay, I want you to take a look around and I want you to grab the object that calls to you most. Look around and say, this is the object I'm meant to grab, or this one, whatever one you feel inside, object is calling to you most. I want you to go ahead and grab that object right now. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. A little bit later on, we'll get to what that object that you grabbed was. So, Reverend Sloan, do you have your object? Okay, you have. Okay.
Yes, I do. In
It's
my
small
hand.
enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Perfect. Okay. So let me give you another example. Well, just in theory, how many of you have ever driven a car? Probably most of you will raise your hand. Yeah. When you drive that car, you drive on the right side of the road. Do you have any doubt or any lack of faith that that car is going to stay on its side of the road? In theory, you don't know if that car will stay on its side of the road or not. And there are examples where that car has crossed the line onto the other line of traffic. However, speaking somewhat, generically, the vast majority of the time, you trust and have faith that that car is going to stay in its lane and that to a large degree is going to obey the laws of the road, stopping at the stop sign, stopping at the red light, um, driving the speed limit, which that can be questionable where I live. But my point is, you have trust and faith that that car is going to do what it's supposed to do, that it's going to stay on the proper side of the road and follow all the traffic laws. So looking at these two examples, you just picked up an object, and I just gave you the metaphor about driving in traffic. In the first example, you picked up the object that called to you. You didn't just randomly pick up any object. You picked up an object that you felt inside of you, the object that called to you. That is divine trust. You listened to what your intuition was telling you. You didn't ask why. You didn't question or try to analyze or try to even understand further. You just picked up the object because that's the one that called to you. That is divine trust. You just went with the flow and you picked up the thing that was meant to be picked up. Now, in the second example, of the car staying on its side of the road, you had faith and you also had trust. You had faith that the car would do what it was supposed to do, and that it would not cross the meridian into your line of traffic. And in both of these examples, what is the common denominator? What is the secret ingredient? And the answer to this question is what allows God to flow through you, or what keeps the flow of God blocked inside of you. And the answer to my question is very simple. It was listening, and you went within. And we doubt not because God is absent in our lives. We know this from Ernest Holmes. There is a power within us and we can use. So we do not doubt because God is absent. We doubt because we lose touch with the divine power that is already within us. And that's the mistake that I was making for almost 2 years. Even though the voice was calling to me, I wasn't listening to it. And so this is an opportunity for you in your life. Where are you feeling misaligned? Where are you feeling confusion? Where are you feeling doubt? Ernest Holmes states, trust the law and it will work for you. Another reason that I experience this lack of harmony, this lack of flow, this feeling of confusion, this feeling of being lost in life, of being out of alignment again, is because I was trying to control the river. I was trying to control the path. I had forgotten, again, perhaps why we study this over and over again is because sometimes we forget. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a human existence, but there's that key part, human existence. We do have an ego, which again, we can say is God, and I won't get into the whole purpose of that, but we create not because divine guidance is flowing through us. Rather, we create because we think it is something that we should be doing for our greater good. And that's the mistake that I was making. That's where divine doubt enters the picture. And we grasp on divine doubt, and we have those feelings again, confusion, feeling out of line, even maybe frustration. That is divine doubt being experienced. That is the flow of God through us being blocked. So when there is trust, when you listen, when you do that thing that is called for you to do, when you pick up the object that you're called to pick up, when you have faith that the car will not cross the median, divine doubt does not exist. Such a thing, divine doubt, then becomes irrelevant, or, as we hear often in our society, not applicable. And so to instill and focus on divine trust and faith, Science of Mind teaches us to remember these two simple things. Very simple, and yet somehow I forgot them, and I know others out there at times have forgotten this. Listen to what God is telling you. It's that simple. Listen to what God is telling you and go where God is directing you and God is guiding you. Give up the control, let go, and let God. Now, take another moment. I want you to just quiet your mind. And if you want, close your eyes if you wish. And on your paper, you'll have to open your eyes to write down on your paper. I want you to write down something on your paper in your life that you are feeling either uncertain about, uneasy, or maybe a little confused or even a little bit lost, like I was. It could be something financially related. It could be a personal relationship of one kind or another. It could be anything going on in your life. But I just want you to write down right now what that is. You don't have to share it or anything, but go ahead and take a moment and do that. When you're done, just go ahead and raise your pen. Okay. Now that you've written that down, later on, at the end of this, later tonight or tomorrow, if you wish, you can go back and ask yourself and journal on this. What is going on within me that I feel lost or confused, or whatever feeling I'm feeling about this particular issue? Because somewhere in that process, there's a blockage created by doubt. But we now know that doubt is not applicable. Doubt is irrelevant. What is missing is trust. What is missing is faith. So I want you to remember these couple of things as I start to wrap this up here. One, you are not lost. You are never lost. Two, you are never without a map or compass. There is no such thing as uncertainty in terms of the universe knowing what it is doing with you and your life. Remember to listen and to let go and let God. And it's not about divine doubt, it's about divine trust and divine faith. And so now to wrap this up, I want to do one final exercise. The object that you chose earlier, I want you to go ahead and pick that object up now with an overhand grip so that your palm is facing down. So I'll demonstrate. So I was called to pick up my eyeglass container. Okay. Have you picked up your object, Reverend Swellen? Okay. So when we pick up our object with our hand down, our palm down, this represents how many of us sometimes live our life. We grip and hold on to our goals, our relationships, and plans tightly because we fear that if we relax even a little bit, we will lose control. This is what we call divine doubt. Now, I want you to take that same object and re-grip it, this time with your palm up so that the object rests in the palm of your hand. This time, your hand is not tight, it is not tense, it is relaxed, and the object is balancing perfectly within the palm of your hand. This represents divine trust, divine faith, understanding that you are always being guided every step of the way and every moment of your life. You're always being guided by that spirit within, by God. And that life, your life, no matter what is happening, is always flowing and always working in perfect harmony. And so it is.
So it is. Awesome. Good thoughts.
So that was my lesson. I kind of uh, shortened it from what I did on this past Sunday.
Okay.
And I did take out, just for time purposes, I took out one big section. But I think, yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
I don't know. Questions, comments? I don't know what's next.
Well, normally it's whatever, however we want discussion. If we want to talk about it, what came out of it, etc., and then prayer and close. So I thought it was very interesting. You're asked the question, where are you in harmony, or where you think you are in harmony with God? And I have recently come to realize that divine doubt is part of the picture. And sometimes it causes us to be patient. Sometimes it causes us to look for whatever's in our way. Sometimes it causes us to deepen, to listen harder. And sometimes I think perhaps it's just there to keep us in alignment until everything in the rest of the universe lines up so that we're in our perfect place. It's not, to me now, it's not a bad thing, but I have to get used to, or am getting used to, the fact that I don't have all the answers right here, right now. That doesn't mean I won't, doesn't mean they aren't coming. It just means I don't have them at this moment. It's kind of like, oh, we're going to give you a gift and it's wrapped, but you can't open it yet. So you don't know what's in it. You don't know what's coming. You know it will be good because you know the source.
And that right there is trust.
And that is trust, yes.
It's faith.
Right, right. You don't know how. Maybe because you've got the box, you do know how and what the gift is, but maybe you don't. Maybe it's just a promise of a gift. So you don't know how it's going to arrive or what it's going to look like. It's like when we teach ourselves to look for unexpected income, we not only look for cash, money on the ground, but we also look for other forms of income. Someone took us to lunch as a form of income. It's not cash in my wallet, but it's money I didn't have to spend to go to lunch on my own. So it's a gift. And it's fascinating how it shows up. All of this good shows up when we're open to the possibility. I am kind of surprised sometimes that we don't see it more. I don't see it more often than I do. And yet I know that it's there, and I'm pretty much keeping my eyes open and giving gratitude for all the little bits of things that have happened in my life. Like, I drive to work in the mornings, most mornings, facing the sun. And at this time of year, it's right there, just barely above my in the face piece. So I wear a floppy hat so I can kind of hide behind it and still see the road and whatnot. And it'll be another week or so before it's up high enough to be behind the visor. But those days right now, where the sun is behind the clouds, those are gift days. Yay, God, I got clouds. Yay. I might be the only person in the city that's celebrating the fact that we have clouds rather than sunshine because I don't like driving it with it right in my face. So that's an interesting piece. It's a gift to me that is trust, as you called it, and yet, oh, I don't have to doubt whether or not I can get to work without having an accident, so to speak, because of the glare in my face. So that's a piece of the comment, first reaction to what you talked about. I got another line in there out of what you said. Are we doing this because we think we should? That's
That's, you want to know where
that's
I
that's
got
a
Michael
that's a
Singer.
big question.
Well, I got that from Michael Singer's latest book, and it struck a chord with me. And it's like, put that in here, put that in here. So,
And what is Michael Singer's latest book?
uh, Wisdom Untethered.
Wisdom Untethered. Okay. Okay. That might be the next read.
I'll give you mine. I'm almost done with mine, so I'll give you my copy.
Okay. Cool. I don't even have to buy the books. You just give them to me. Thank you. See, the universe is rich.
On my tiny living, I have no storage room for books. I mean,
Yeah.
mm,
Well, you've been to my house, I think. So I
I
have
upon a time you have bookshelf,
lots.
shelf after bookshelf.
Yes,
Mm.
I do.
Uh,
And
Two things that stood out very fascinating. I love these discussions. Obviously, I love what you said about maybe divine doubt is part of the equation. The metaphor of the gift that is wrapped up. You know, I used to want to know what was in it, and if I didn't, it would drive me crazy. But now I realize for me, it doesn't matter what's in it.
right,
It could be a tax bill for $1,000. It could be a summons to appear in court. Whatever's in that gift or that box is a gift because that's what's meant to.
right.
That's trust that again that God is guiding you in faith in the direction
Mhm.
you're supposed to go. So I don't need to know what's in the box. It doesn't matter what it is for me.
Right.
And the idea that the metaphor, the sun in your face, I drive home with the sun setting. So I have the same issue going west at night when the sun is setting. It's right in my face. But it's always, I think, everything is about perspective. I'm reminded of the example, it's raining. And as a soccer coach, oh, sorry, kids, that, the fields are too wet. We can't play on tonight. I got to cancel practice. And, oh, we don't, we want to play, all that stuff. They were bummed out. Meanwhile, the farmer down the street is like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you for this rain. My crops desperately needed it. It will save me on irrigation. This rain will save me hundreds and hundreds of dollars, things like that. So, the sun in the eyes driving home again, that's God at work. That's God guiding, and that's the situation it's supposed to be. And
Right.
correctly, you adapt by a hat. I have a hat too that I adapt, and it goes down to almost my nose, so I'm kind of squinting under it, so I can definitely.
Hmm.
Uh,
Right.
I usually drive to work at 5 in the morning, so it's pitch dark. So I don't. The only thing I have to worry about then are the blaring headlights. People don't dim their lights; they keep them on bright.
Hmm.
But I don't know, it's just all fascinating. I You study and you study, but I think sometimes it's good to relearn something. And I think that's part of why we have ego is to help us relearn. Because if we didn't have ego, maybe we would be enlightened already, and there would be no point to the physical life that we're on or the journey, evolution, or any of that. I don't know, but once I understood this and had a major shift, this was about 2 months ago. I had this major shift. It's never that I was out of alignment. I don't think anybody could ever be out of alignment.
I agree with that.
My thinking made it so. Again, change your thinking, change your world. That's our core philosophy. Change your perception, I guess, about what is happening. I was trying to direct and control, make me go left. I was trying to create things, books, programs, whatever, because I thought that's what I should be doing, but realizing now that wasn't God flowing through me. Now that I've let go and let God again, God is flowing through me, and I've gone back to what I was doing 10 years ago that I thought I had no desire to ever do again.
Okay.
Okay, this is good, but now this is where God is guiding me. So I'm just going with the flow and I'm kind of excited. And I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. And I'm kind of relieved to put all this other stuff on hold for a while. So,
Cool. It sounds good. I'm at a anticipatory place where things in my life I believe are shifting. Things are all around us are shifting, and
mhm.
I don't know yet how that's going to look. So my question is, what is my
You,
next big
yeah,
step or little step? Since
yeah.
I don't know the big step, I can only do the little step.
But doesn't matter how it looks. That's my whole point. It's going to look however it's meant to look. And that's what
Exactly.
God has in his plan for your life. So that's like
Right.
the gift box again. It doesn't matter what's in the box. Like I said, it could be a summons you're being sued by someone, or it could be a $10,000 check or something. It doesn't matter either way. Either one is a gift.
Right. Right. And while I would much prefer to have the $10,000 rather than the summons, as most of us would,
See, that's interesting. That's what you would prefer, but what does God prefer?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And what would be the lesson out of the summons in the first place?
Or the growth. Yeah, however you want.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
God is saying this is where Brad needs to go, or this is where Reverend Suella needs to go. And again, that's letting go of control,
yes,
letting go, letting God.
yes. It's taken several years, many years, for me to feel like I had any control in the first place. And
Mm,
now I'm learning to let it go, but let it go on purpose rather than let it go because I have no choice.
yeah. I feel much more since I've learned to let go, let God again the last 2 months. I feel much more alive. I feel much more harmony and joy in my life. I'm smiling again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just throwing this out there real quick. I was dealing with I'll use the word minor, but it could be, say, medium health issue, which for me, being the health guy and the way I eat and live my life was unusual, but it has completely cleared up. It literally cleared up overnight. It's just crazy.
Cool.
I feel just joy and peace that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what life is like to let God flow through you when you stop blocking the flow, when you let go.
Right.
You just finally realize trust and faith that at the end of every treatment, we say, I now release this into the law that always says yes. Those last three words, always says yes. I've had such a hard time buying into that and believing that. But now it's like a knife through butter. It's just yeah, yeah, always says yes. And I look at these crazy
Right.
that show up in my life that, God, I've been wanting this for like 15 years, or, oh, I've been, wanting this for five. God always brings you everything you want. It's just
Right.
when. And I'm seeing examples of that all the time in my life right now. So
Yes. Right.
so why do we have doubt? Yeah, I like your idea that maybe doubt is part of the equation. That's definitely a good view to look at. But why do we have doubt when we know the law always says yes?
Because we have many years of people teaching us to doubt.
But
We're
we
not
also
we're not good enough. We're not, I mean, we're talking years, years. I didn't find signs of mine until I was in my 50s.
well, that's a lot of
So,
years.
but 50 years worth of learning that I wasn't capable, that I didn't know, that I didn't have the worthiness, that I wasn't good enough. That's a lot to overcome. It's just, I mean, our parents, they're not trying to give us limitations. What they're trying to do is encourage us to try harder, to go for that A. or to be better at whatever sport. I mean, they're really trying to help us, but long story short, it didn't work out that way because we picked that up, some of us, but we
No,
also picked up the fact that we're not good enough in their eyes. And of course, who do we want to please most? Our parents, our teachers.
and in the last couple of months, that's what I've been working on is letting go of the environment and toxicity
Right.
that my parents gave me. They didn't mean to, it wasn't their intention, but that's what,
Absolutely. Right.
so it's letting go of that. So a question to ask any of us, we can ask ourselves, are we holding on to doubt? Letting
Right.
go of doubt. And the more you let go of doubt, what replaces doubt? Anytime, the way nature works, universe, anytime there's an empty space, something has to fill that space. So allow doubt to just be released and let go, and allow love and hope or
Right.
peace and trust to fill that space. And that's where I'm at in my journey right now. Every
And yeah, I'm working on that too.
yeah,
Just
every
a,
more and more time letting go of doubt, letting go of cynicism. That's the environment I grew up in. All respect to my parents. Letting go of toxicity. That again, that's the environment I grew up in. Letting go of that and letting my natural state of that love and joy, which is who we all are at our most natural state, letting that fill my bubble, for lack of a better word, more and more.
mhm.
And it's working because I can feel it. You hear it in my throat
Yes.
and everything. So yeah.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. All right. Before we close out with prayer, we'll let anyone who would like to make a donation to Inner Journey can go to inner-journey.org. And there is a place for you to make a contribution on the website, or you can text to 405 337 9739. That's 405 337 9739. And the word for today is power. So if you would like to text a donation, that would be absolutely awesome. And that you're not so inclined, that's okay too. It's all God anyway. So would you like to close this out in prayer, or would you like me to?
Go for it. I'm talked out right now. Thank you.
Okay. So let me take a breath. And as I breathe in, I know that I breathe in God because God is all there is. That's all I can breathe in. And when I breathe out God because God is all there is. That power, that essence that created the whole universe, all of the stars and planets, is in every breath I take. As I assimilate that breath into my body, I know that it is God. I know that God is always in and through and as me in everything that I do. I know that God expresses through me. And I know that if it is true for me, it is true for each person who hears these words. There is only God. The power that is God is flowing through me in this moment, and I stop to listen. I stop to listen to that still small voice within so that I can hear God's guidance. I know it is there, it's always with me. Sometimes all I need to do is just stop and breathe. And when I take a breath, that will shift my attention, which shifts my concentration, moving me from maybe only a half a degree off of where I have been, but shifting me more along God's will, God's energy. When I allow it to move through me, always leads me in the right direction. The gift that is God is with me always. It is up to me to open the package, to hear what it has to say, to see what it has to say, to be what it is inclined to for me to be, to become the very best version of myself in alignment with this divine. And I say, thank you, God. I know that if this is the truth for me, it is the truth for Brad, it is the truth for everyone who is listening to this podcast, Zoom class, whatever it's called today. I know God is always right where I am. Always. And I deliberately shift away from doubt and into trust, knowing that it is the truth. And so I release this prayer into the law that says yes, knowing it is complete here and now. And we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen.